The Old House by Pamela, Duncan, Edwards, illustrated by Henry Cole. Once upon a time, there was an old house. The old house was lonely because no one had lived in it for a long, long time. When people passed its rickety gate, they often said to one another, "Did you ever see such an unhappy old house?" Its friends tried to cheer it up. "You're so useful," chattered the birds. "Your eaves are perfect for our nests." "You're helpful too," said the squirrel. "You always remember where I hid my nuts." "Your yard is exactly right for us," agreed the wildflowers. "It's so pretty. What would we all do without you?" "We love you no matter what," whispered the oak tree, wrapping its twiggy arms around the roof of the old house. "It doesn't do any good feeling sorry for yourself," they cried. But it was no use. "I'm so empty inside," sobbed the house. Sometimes people came to look around the house, but they always went away again. "You have to be crazy to want to live in such an old heap," said one couple, "even if it is reduced in price." "What?" cried the old house in a horrified voice. "I've been reduced?" Its window shutters drooped in disgust. "The only thing to do with that dump is to knock it down," a man sneered. When it heard these words, the old house cried so hard that its timbers became damp and musty. It began to ache in all its joints. Even its friends shivered in fright. One day, a family stopped by the rickety gate. "Oh," said the mother, "I've always dreamed of living in a quaint old place like this." "We've never lived in a real house," said the boy. "Could we just go and look at it?" Just then the old house gave one of its big, sorrowful sighs. "Uh-oh," said the father. "I think it might have rot." "No," cried the little girl. "It's just saying hello to us, that's all." "Hey," the squirrel whispered to the old house. "Did you hear that? This is your big chance." But the old house sniffed. "Look, they're going away like all the others," it whined. But the next week, the family appeared again. They stared at the house longingly. "I'd put a tire swing up there," said the boy, gazing at the oak. "Look at the nest," said the mother. "This house certainly shares itself with its friends." "I'd pull the grass from around the wildflowers," said the girl. "Then they'd be able to get to the light." "Do you think the house is leaning sideways?" asked the father. "I wonder if its foundation is cracked." "Excuse me," cried the old house indignantly. "My foundation is not cracked." "Then stop sagging," said the squirrel. "Stand tall. Get a grip on yourself," urged the oak tree. "Twinkle your windows. Think how disappointed they're going to be," twittered the birds. "You can do it," whispered the wildflowers. The old house looked at the wishful face of the mother and the uncertain face of the father. It saw the eager faces of the boy and the girl, and it heard the baby gurgle. "This family needs me," thought the old house, and it took a deep breath. It wriggled and stretched and pushed with all its might until it stood as straight as possible. "It's not leaning at all," said the boy. "You're right," said the father. "A shadow must have fallen across it for a minute." The girl looked at her mother and father. "Could we buy it?" she asked. "We've been saving money for a house, but it would take a lot of work to fix this one," said the mother. "It certainly would," said the father. Then the family started walking away. "Stop! Don't go!" cried the old house. "We could be so happy together." But the family was gone. The old house was miserable. "I could have been their home," it mourned. "I could have kept them safe and warm." "Have you noticed that it feels sad for the family?" the squirrel whispered to the oak tree. It stopped feeling sorry for itself. "I know," answered the oak tree. "That's one good thing at last." One morning, a rumbling noise came from down the lane. "It's the bulldozer!" wailed the old house. "This is the end! We're doomed!" "Who'll save our nest?" screeched the birds. "Our babies can't fly yet. They'll trample us flat," cried the wildflowers. "I know they'll chop me down too," groaned the oak tree. "Goodbye, old house. You've been a good friend." They all creaked and rustled and squawked and trembled in terror. But suddenly, the old house stopped shivering. "Hey!" it exclaimed. "Look! It's not the bulldozer! It's my family!" And it was! The mother washed the windows of the old house until they flashed like diamonds. She painted the frames a sparkling white. The father hammered in new pieces of wood, and baby birds watched as he mended holes in the roof. "All my aches and pains are going away," cried the old house. While the boy swung from the oak tree, the squirrel played peekaboo with the baby. The girl pulled up grass around the wildflowers so they could feel the warm sun. She sprinkled seeds on the ground for the birds to eat. The family worked so hard that the old house began to feel young again. And if the old house ever creaked, it did so from joy and not from sadness, for it was so filled with laughter and love that people passing its rickety gate often said to one another, "Did you ever see such a happy old house?" The end.